Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to repair the hinge on this Dell Inspiron 15-3511. I guess we'll also go over what's inside the computer. We're going to be using a JIS1 or PH1 screwdriver to undo the screws on the bottom. I'm working on it like this because the screen is hanging off the edge of my desk because the hinge is broken. So yeah, anyways, you want to remove all the screws. You want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like this on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we have this pattern going around here. Okay, so we're just going to put it in that rectangular shape. If this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, so let's go ahead and get all these screws out. It looks like these screws on the back kind of stay in place. Or actually, I guess just that outer corner. So, yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and take this out. Let's see if it does the same thing. Okay, so by design it's like that because it helps pop the bottom cover up. Okay, so it's actually a nice design. Okay, once you undo the screws, these corner ones near the hinges, you can see it pops open the cover. So I'm going to use that to help pull this out. I'm sliding my fingernail along the edge here while I'm kind of pulling it back. And you can see we can pop that out. We're going to continue going around. We'll do the same thing with the other side over here. Okay, same thing, pull that out and just use my fingernail to kind of pull it forward. Okay, let's see if we can pull it from this side because I don't want to close the screen and risk damaging it. Okay, so we're gonna go around here, same thing, I'm just running my fingernails along there and kind of pulling on it, and there we go. Okay, so we got that. Let's see if we can wiggle this out without having to close the screen. We might have to close the screen because there's not much room back here. But let's see. Okay. So, okay, well, as you can see, this side is the one that's broken, so I have to be careful. I'm going to close it a little bit. Okay, and now we can get this off. Okay, come on, let go. Oh, the bottom one screw kind of went back in, I think. There we go. Okay, and there we go. Sorry I can't show at a decent angle because of the broken hinge. But yeah. Alright, we're going to flip this back over. I'm going to try and hold the hinge in place while I open it back up. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to disconnect the battery here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see battery connectors like this. I'm going to just use my fingernails here and kind of use them to wiggle the edge of the connector like this. And there we go, pops out. Alright, after you've disconnected the battery, it's always a good idea to press and hold the power button for 15 seconds. So I'm going to press and hold that about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This makes it a lot safer to work on and greatly reduces the risk of damage, especially since we're going to be removing the entire screen from the computer. Okay, alright, so I'm going to flip this back over. Next thing we're going to do, we need to see what's going into the screen. We have the antenna wires, and then we also have the LCD connector. So wireless antenna wires are here. We're going to undo this screw. Okay, that's holding the wireless card in place. And we're just going to take that metal plate off, try and keep the screw with it, and we're going to set that aside. Again, sorry, I have to have it zoomed out quite a bit because otherwise I can't really get a good angle. And because these connectors are a little more fragile, I'm going to avoid taking it out unless I need to. So I'm going to slide the wireless card out like this. I had to lift it slightly at an angle. Alright, and let's see if we can just keep the entire thing like that. We're getting it out from underneath these little metal things that kind of go over it. Okay, and the last one, there's one that goes under the plastic here. Be careful with the heat sink. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna move this aside. Be careful not to drop it on the motherboard. And then we got, I guess we got just this one connector here for the LCD LVDS. We're gonna flip this latch up. I'm using my thumbnail to lift it. There we go. Then we can kind of lift this connector up slightly towards the back and pull it out. Okay, and hopefully that's all we need to disconnect. I'm gonna undo the screws holding the hinge in place. There's one here and one here. Okay, so we'll remove these two hinges or hinge screws. Okay, got those two out, and then there's two on this side as well. Okay, once I get the screws, the hinges out, then I can kind of show you guys what's inside the computer. Okay, there we go. So we got the 4 screws, and then I can actually just lift the screen out. And this is what the screen assembly looks like. Okay. Now let me show you guys what's inside this computer. I like to usually work on it this way with the hinge area away from me. And let me zoom out, and then I will keep this as a thumbnail. Okay, so just like that. Okay, so that can be the thumbnail. All right, anyways, we got the battery here, type G91J0. Let me actually do some close-ups here. G91J0, you can see it right there. Okay, and this connector is a little bit tricky to remove. It looks like there's connector here, and then it goes up to this wire here. So I'm not exactly sure how that's connected. I think I did a video of one of these before, but I don't want to mess around with it because the only issue is their screen. So yeah, I'm just going to show what there is. You got the keyboard connector here. Some models have a keyboard backlight connector there. They're only using 1 stick of RAM, but it has a second slot. All right, to get the RAM out, you just pull the tabs to the side. It pops up at an angle. You can take it out. And you have PC4 3200 AA. You can use any PC4 through 3200 AA RAM. So if you want, you can put 2 8 gig sticks. I don't know if they have 16 gig sticks. If they do, you can put that as well. All right, DC jack or charge port connectors right here. It kind of has the same as the battery connector. You kind of grab the wings, wiggle it, and you can pull it out. And it looks like it just goes here. No screws holding it or anything. I believe the hinge was on top of it though, so you would have to remove that. Okay, there's a slot here. Oh, that's the wireless card that we just took out. You got an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. You can use the longer ones, but you would have to get rid of this bracket because the bracket will be in the way, but you can reuse the screw. Okay, and it comes out like the RAM. 1 screw, it pops up slightly at an angle, and then you can pull it out. You got this cable here going from the motherboard to the I/O board or the daughter board. And that's for the SD card slot and the USB port and the headphone jack. Same thing, it has the little flip latches. It looks like some models have a fingerprint reader, so there's a little flip latch if you have that. Speaker connector here. There is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive slot here. It does come with the 4 screws underneath this tape and the connector, so if you wanted to change that, it connects to the motherboard there. All right, speaker connectors there. If I didn't already say it, it goes around here. It's held in with just some rubber, so you can actually just lift it out. Then there's a cable that runs along the bottom from that speaker to this speaker. And yeah, there's not much else inside here. CPU is under here. It's soldered to the motherboard, so you can't upgrade it or replace it. And then the fan right here with the connector down there. I know, sorry, I've been like just moving this thing all over the place really fast, but I got to get this done quick. Got lots of computers going. I was out for a while. All right. Anyways, to remove the bezel here, we're gonna basically epoxy this thing in place. Okay. So let's see. We're gonna pop this out. So you go from the center and you kind of pull it upwards, just like this. Okay. Interesting. This piece is coming out. Okay. Anyways, same thing for this. I'm pulling up from the center and then I'm basically rotating it and pushing it inward slightly. There is some adhesive, so keep that in mind. It is a little bit tricky to remove it. You want to go slow. Don't just try and pull it up quickly. I did open this already a little bit earlier, so the adhesive isn't really holding very strong. But yeah, we're going to slowly work our way around. Again, we're pushing it in towards that way and also lifting up the center, so I'm just rotating it like that. Okay, and I make it look simple because I'm like twisting it while I'm kind of sliding it down. But yeah, okay, then we're gonna get this out. It looks like this piece is stuck on here. I'm not sure how that comes out, to be honest. Okay, so this goes there, then you got the cables coming out here and the cable coming out there. Okay, how do we get this out? Okay, so I don't know how these little hinge covers come off. They're kind of tricky, but you can see this one came out. It was already kind of coming out because of the break in it, so I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, here you can see the hinge screws here broke. So what we're gonna end up doing, we're gonna epoxy or JB weld the hinge down directly into the frame or the screen, because as you can see, it's just not holding anymore. And if I put glue to hold these, they're most likely just gonna fall off because there's not much area to grip there. So yeah, we're gonna remove these screws and then we're gonna just JB weld the hinge directly into place. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm grabbing these with the needle nose pliers. You can use any pliers, and then I'm just undoing these screws. Okay, and last one here. Okay, all right, so we got all the screws out for this side. All right, I technically don't need to remove this side, but I kind of want to, I don't know, I'm kind of confused as to how it held. Okay, I used my fingernail to like pop the clip here, and then you can see it kind of comes out. Then you can kind of rotate it, and there we go. So that's how you get that out. I didn't really need to take that out, but that allows you, you'd have to take that out in order to get this piece out. Okay, it's kind of caught underneath the hinge. So I guess you kind of have to maneuver it kind of weird, rotate it, and there we go. So we got this out. But I'm going to put this back in. I'm assuming this thing is held in with adhesive because it looks like it's stuck here. So I'm going to try and rotate this back into place. Okay, oh, it went in pretty easily. Is there pull tab adhesives here? Okay, I'm guessing these clear, there's a clear strip up here and a clear strip up here. I think these are attached to stretch release adhesives that you kind of grab and you have to pull it straight parallel with the screen to be able to get that out. Okay, so if you need to remove the screen, that's how you would do it. I'm not going to do it again because this is the customer's computer and they had a specific issue, and I don't want to mess around doing other stuff and then accidentally damage it worse. So yeah, all right, we're gonna now put this piece back in if we can. So I think it just rotates in. This has to be up here. Okay, rotate that into place and clip it. This thing's a little bit tricky to get back in. So you kind of rotate it and then there we go, clicked it back in. Perfect. Okay, so now all we need is to get this piece because we want to JB weld this into place, right? So this goes, I guess it has to go under. Interesting. Wait, what? Oh, this thing got bent up slightly when it got ripped out. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky because this plastic is here. Oh shoot. So how would you normally get this out? Okay. I guess it can rotate like this, and then you can rotate it into place. And basically we want to secure this down into place. So to do that, it's getting caught on the screen here, so we gotta be careful. And it's kind of a weird design because this plastic, there's a plastic piece here. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you a bit better. So there's a plastic piece here that sticks out, if you can see that. And this kind of has to go on top of the hinge. So it makes it difficult. Anyways, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean this up. We're gonna fill the 3 screw holes with JB weld. We're gonna put some JB weld back here and on here, and then we're gonna have to maneuver it into place. Actually, we're probably not gonna put it on the bottom because when I maneuver it in, it's probably gonna get the stuff on it. So we're gonna have to likely just hold this out of the way, put JB Weld in there, let me make sure to clean this out first because we don't want debris in there that's gonna just make the glue release. So we want to clean that out, make sure it's good. Okay. And if you're not sure how to remove this stretch release adhesive, let me know. I have other videos where I worked on these similar models. I can probably send you a link of that for you to take a look at. All right. Okay. Keep that thing out of the way. All right. So I don't know why this screen got pulled up a bit because the wireless antenna cable moved over there. So you want to be careful. Okay. Why is this out here? I'm gonna move the wireless antennas back this way. Okay, because this is gonna go on. Actually, oh shoot, it has to go on top the other way. Okay, so this would go on top and then these would come out here. Okay, just like this. Okay, so I need to get the JB Weld ready. We're gonna need enough to fill those 3 screw mounts, and then we're gonna use a little bit of plastic on top to kind of cover. So let me get some scissors as well, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Got some scissors. Let's go ahead and mix up some JB Weld. And we're going to need enough for about 3 of those little spots. Okay, there's not much room on my desk to work on this, so let's see here. Got too many things going on at once. Let's see. So I'll open this up. There's 2 parts to JB Weld. You don't want to use the quick setting stuff. You want to use the original, okay, because the quick stuff doesn't work too well. Okay, so that's probably about enough. It's actually probably way more than enough, but that's what we're going to use, okay. It's always better to have more than not enough, and then sometimes you can fill in little gaps with it. Okay. Hopefully the other side's not breaking. Okay, we did that. All right, next we're gonna do the other side. Okay. All right. There we go. Hopefully that's about even. It's difficult to tell because there's no like good way to measure it. All right, now that we got that, we're gonna just stir the 2 pieces or 2 parts together. Okay. Usually you can somewhat tell based on the color if there's too much of one component, if you've done this long enough. That, get it all together. Okay, stir it up. Looks good. You can check. I use this clear stuff because I can check the bottom to make sure it's all stirred together. Looks good. Scrape this all together. Good. All right. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we're gonna lift this up out of the way, and we're just gonna fill the screw mount area. Okay, so basically just get all the epoxy into here. Just like this. Okay, just like that. this in there. Okay, this in there. More in there. Okay, now that we got all 3 screw mount areas filled with epoxy or JB Weld, I have to slide this piece into place. So this one, again, we have to kind of do it at a weird angle. Rotate it and then flip it over, and hopefully that's in. See if it's hitting something. It's not going in right. There we go. Okay, so we got that. Okay, you can see the JB Weld is kind of flowing up through the screw mounts. That's what we want. We're going to put extra on top to make sure holds it down. Okay, this is difficult because I'm trying to hold this in a way so that you guys can see. Normally I wouldn't be having to worry about that, so let me see. I might have to do it off camera because it's making it difficult. Basically get this stuff in there. Okay. So basically we're just replacing the screws with the glue or JB Weld. And this stuff has to set for 15 hours, okay? So if you're doing something similar, keep that in mind. It's not something where you can just do and then use the computer right away. Also, if you want, you can fill this extra area down here for extra strength. So I'm gonna put the JB Weld in here. Okay, and then we're gonna cover it with some thin plastic wrap. You can use saran wrap or whatever. Okay, and this prevents it from sticking to the bezel, so if we ever have to open this up to replace the screen, we can do that. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to have to hold this out of the way this way, and we'll put some more over here. And also fill these holes here. Alright. Okay, so the hinge is kind of holding it up out of the way for me. I'm going to try and get the last bit of this JB Weld epoxy stuff. And if you're wondering, because some people ask me if they can use a different type of epoxy, as long as it's strong enough, but I don't know, I've tried some other ones and they're not very good. So this one I know for sure will work. If you're gonna try something else and it breaks, don't blame me. Okay, but anyways, I'm just gonna clean up the residue, the excess stuff I have now from the tools I used, so that way I can use them again later. Okay. Clean stuff up. Alright, there we go. Okay, so again, we're going to be cutting some plastic to put in place. Alright, and that will hold or keep it from sticking to the back of this piece. And that way, if we ever need to open it again, we can. Okay, and this is going to be a little tricky because we're going to want to close the laptop so it can set in place properly. So I'm going to cut a piece of plastic here. Okay. Just probably way too big, so I'm going to cut it smaller. And one thing to make it easier for the plastic is if you cut it bigger and then you just cut it in half so that you can overlap it. That way you can, I'll show you what I mean in a bit. Let's see if I can get this on camera. Okay, so that way you can kind of, that's sticking to me from the static. That way you can basically align it all the way as low as possible. Okay, so you can start it all the way at the bottom down here. Probably gonna have to use something to help move it around. Oh, actually this one started at the top. Okay, so you can kind of have the plastic towards the top, and then you get another piece and you can put it towards the bottom. Okay, and that way it kind of overlaps and covers all of it. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. All right, now we're gonna put this thing back into place. Make sure to keep the hinge in place. Get this rotated back underneath. Okay, and click that all down. Let's zoom back out. Okay, so we're gonna click all of this into place. Again, let's go ahead and click the entire bezel in. So basically the reverse as before, we're still kind of rotating it in that direction. So the way I'm doing that is I'm pushing mainly on the outside and it kind of causes it to rotate on its own. And then I do have some of this plastic sticking out here, which is fine because later I'm going to pop this up and then I'm going to pull this plastic to peel it out once it's completely set. You don't need to remove the plastic. If you want, you can get it to where it's the size where this is hidden inside. But yeah, I like to remove the plastic after. Okay, so there we go. Now we need to put this piece back on as well. Okay, so the part with this angle thingy on it goes towards the bottom of the screen, and then the one that's just cut flat like that goes towards the inside. So we're going to get this in. Okay. And hopefully it will all click into place. I think they broke the clips here, so it's not exactly holding. It seems like it's not holding properly. Well, I don't know if the clips are broken on the outside here or on the other side, but that's how we're gonna have to have it for now. Okay. If the customer needs to replace that in the future, I guess they can, but for now it's like that. So I don't think there's a way we can kind of make this stay clicked in better. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. All right, so we're gonna put this thing back together now. Let's put this stuff away. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get the laptop back here, just like this. Okay, we gotta make sure this ends up back on top. Slowly, carefully lower this into place. Make sure you have it lined up right. Okay. All right, just like that. Then we're going to get all these screws back in. Okay, get this screw in. It also helps to add thread locker to these screws to make sure they don't come loose over time. So I'll show you. I use the red kind, this one, 262. So I just open this up. I got these screws in, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one screw out. And I'm just going to put a very little bit on here. Okay, not too much. Kind of just touch it to the screw. Okay, not even a full drop. It's not focusing for some reason, but hopefully you get the idea. Then we'll just tighten that in. Good. Do the same thing with the other one. And this will prevent the screws from coming loose. A lot of times when these screws come loose, that's when it ends up breaking. So I like to make sure that it's nice and snug and it's not going to come loose. Okay. Again, we just put a little bit of this stuff and that prevents it from spinning around. Okay. Got these screws. I think it's tripping out. Yeah. Okay, just like this. All right, another one. We'll take this one as well. All right, there we go. So we got the hinge screws in. We can put the wireless thing first because it's loose and moving around. We do have to kind of thread it back through these little plastic and metal protruding parts, okay, to make sure that it's going the right way. Good. Then get it back through and through there. Okay. To go through here. Alright, just like this. Alright, just like that. And then we just get the wireless antenna or wireless card back in, line it up, go slightly at an angle, push it in, there we go. Get this back on, and the screw. I know it's zoomed out, I'm sorry. Okay, and once you get that in, just hold this in place over the antennas and tighten that down. All right, perfect. Okay, there we go. Now the somewhat tricky part, because the hinge here is broken. So what I do is I pull the laptop downwards, like down, and rotate it at the same time. You can see it's actually still popping it out, so we got to be very careful. Jeez, this one's tough. Okay, so this side's fine, but this one's broken, so I'm gonna use more force over here, rotating this and kind of pushing down here, also pushing it in to try and keep the hinge lined up. And there we go. Hopefully it's staying lined up the way it should be. I don't know, I might have to let it set while sitting up because I feel like the hinge isn't lined up the way it should be, especially the way it's popping out like that. So let's see, I'm gonna try and push it with this. Yeah, I have a feeling the hinge isn't quite sitting in right. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I got it in. This is sitting right. These are all sitting right. And if you look in here, this bezel's all flush. Okay, so it should be good. What I did was I opened it slightly, pulled this downwards and pushed down here, okay, to make sure it's sitting completely. And now just make sure everything is lined up flush here. Let's zoom back in a bit, and I think we should be good to go. We can put the bottom cover back on. Again, I already kind of showed everything that was in here. Make sure to reconnect the screen cable and the battery. So let's get the screen cable first. I'm gonna zoom in here so you guys can see better, hopefully. Okay, so this latches up. We're gonna rotate this. You want it going slightly at an angle down into the slot. Okay, and then once you get it, you'll see these raised parts at the corners back here are now holding that cable in. Flip that latch down, good. And then get the battery connector back in. Make sure this goes in straight. You don't want to put it in crooked and damage the pins inside. Okay, the way I do that, once I get it lined up, I pinch both sides like this, just like that. Okay, and then make sure this goes into this as well. And now let's just get the bottom cover back on, and we should be good to go as far as fixing the hinge goes. Okay, so now I'm gonna do it the way right side up how I normally do it. Okay, so we get this lined up, kind of click all of that into place. Okay, then we got these screws, so gotta twist it backwards till you hear it click and then twist it down. That's how you know it's lined up. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Twist it backwards, you hear it click, and then go down. And there we go. Alright, everything's good. I'm going to flip this back over so I can put the screws back in. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this. Let's see, maybe I'll wait until tomorrow to upload this video once it's completely set so I can open and close it and show you guys the finished product, as well as showing the removal of that plastic, or at least the part that's sticking out. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Why is this not going in right? There's not, okay, make sure it goes in. There we go. Okay, last few screws, and we're good to go. Alright, and then I'll give it 15 hours or so, and then I'll show you guys. I'll open up and show the inside of this to show you how the JB weld is holding up. Alright, so I'll see you guys then. Bye. Alright, so we're back with this Dell laptop. As you can see, the hinge is good now. Uh-oh, I'm getting messages. Give me a second. But yeah, as you can see, the hinge is good now. Let me turn off my notifications real quick. There we go. And we do have the plastic sticking out here. Let's see if we can pop it out without taking the whole thing apart. We only really need to take out the part that's sticking out, but we can see if sometimes when you pull on this, because it stretches, it will kind of release some of it. Nope, I guess not. Okay, so I guess we'll just pull out more of it, and that's pretty much all there is to this. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Okay, you can see it actually all came out now. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye.